time is now 2:07. I call this meeting to order. I want to open up with a quick invocation, and then we'll get to the approval of the minutes. If you would, please bow your heads. Father God, we come before you today just thanking you for this time. Thanking you that the decisions that we make here today help to improve the quality of life for each and every individual that we see. We just ask that you would just continue to give us wisdom and guidance and lead us and guide us into all truth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Committee members, before you, you have the minutes from our last meeting. Is there a motion to approve? All in favor say aye. All opposed? All right, those minutes have been approved. Mr. Roderick Lowe, how you doing today?
Good afternoon. My name is Roger Glow, and I serve as the subdivision planner for the city of Birmingham. And as with item 1, a request for favorable recommendation regarding the vacation of 8,011 square feet of right-of-way, and a request for approval of a final plat resurveying 2 lots and the vacated right-of-way into 2 lots called Hallmark Auto Group Resurvey Number 1, which is subdivision 2024, case number 87. And before I turn the mic over to their representatives, I have to include in the minutes that this went before the subdivision committee on the 13th of November and did not receive a favorable recommendation to city council. And we do have someone from BDOT that may be able to answer any questions as it relates to that. But we do have representatives from Hallmark that we can yield the floor to for their presentation.
Okay. Before Hallmark gets up, well, I'll let you all come first. Let you all come first. Please state your name and address. And
Good afternoon, Mike Brown, 1819 Fifth Avenue North. I represent Hallmark Automotive along with Trey Hill and Jack Peace. I have here with me today the CEO of Hallmark Automotive, Mark Livingston. As has been stated by Mr. Lowe, Hallmark is seeking to have an alley vacated. We've got a picture, aerial view of the area. Currently, Hallmark operates, there's 2 buildings in that area, and as you can see, the alleyway runs here, goes between 14th and 15th Street, Fifth Avenue Alley is what it's called. There are 2 buildings that Hallmark operates there currently. Hallmark owns all the parcels surrounding this alley. It's the only property owner affected by this request. Hallmark Automotive owns multiple dealerships in the city of Birmingham. It owns a Chrysler dealership, Dodge dealership, Hyundai, Jeep, Nissan, Ram, and Subaru dealerships, all in the general vicinity of this Hyundai dealership. Some years ago, as you all know, we've been under competition. Irondale has an Irondale Auto Mart that hosts a number of different automotive dealerships. And Hallmark, with all the dealerships that I just mentioned, along with Edwards Chevrolet, form the backbone of what you could consider the city of Birmingham's own Auto Mart. The vacation of this alley is critical to the long-term success of Hyundai's dealership, of Hallmark's dealership, the Hyundai dealership here. They have a contract, which Mr. Livingston can explain better than I can, with regard to their franchise operation to connect their service facility and their sales facility into one building. And that's why the vacation of the alleyway is necessary, because when you construct across the alley, you have to own it. You can't have a use agreement, which was one thing that we had talked about or considered at one time. So the new dealership would come to this. This is the draft drawing, but the alleyway is here. You have the existing building here, the existing building here. It's about 4,000 square feet on the front and a larger building in the back. There'll be a new service building. Because it's an automotive dealership, you have a lot of room in the front where you park new vehicles to put them out there for sale. The combined new facility, thank you, appreciate it, will be a newly constructed service facility of over 14,000 square feet. And the development, as noted, will traverse the alley. You also have some electronic vehicle servicing operations on the side there as well. So this is a significant investment by Hallmark in the city of Birmingham. We're talking about over $15 million in fixed assets, parts, and equipment, and improvements alone. The applicant believes the investment will increase perhaps as much as double their annual sales at that Hyundai dealership, and will certainly allow the existing jobs to stay in place, which employs over 200 persons currently at that facility, correct? Downtown. So this is a significant investment that they need to stay in that location. If they can't do it, they're going to end up having to move to another location. Now, the alley itself, as noted, connects to nothing at this point in time.
Take the mic with you, sir.
So the alley right now used to be an alleyway that ran, and it's on the top part of that. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So here's the alleyway right here. And it used to run through all the way across. At this point, this part's been vacated. That's the Civil Rights Building right there. And this has been vacated. Alabama Power owns this piece of property here. So the only part of the alley that exists right now is here. It's a very small alleyway. I believe Mr. Livingston put together a package of information, or actually, I think Roderick's department, there's some pictures that were part of what you all have, Mr. Lowe's department, that show the alley. It's very narrow, and right now, it's really a problem from the owner's standpoint in that people who are up to no good can get back there because he has no way, since it's a public alley, people can go back there in between his business and his business operations and just park there and kind of get up to things that are not legal or not helpful to his business. The city's engineer comments in looking at this were concerns about construction. They're concerns about the power lines that currently run down the alley. We've had discussions, the owner has, with Alabama Power, and we certainly would move those. There was also some engineering comments from planning and engineering about the drainage in that area. Obviously, when we get to the point of submitting plans to develop, we will have to have appropriate plans that deal with any drainage concerns that may exist in that alley. So we certainly understand in general that the city is often reluctant to vacate alleys, but when you have a business owner such as this that's invested in the city and is willing to invest a lot more in the city, to vacate 8,000 square feet in that area to this owner that's already committed to the city seems to me to be a good investment. And so that's why we're asking for it right now. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Livingston to add to anything that he'd like to say about his franchise situation and why he really needs to do this. Thank you.
State name. Mark Livings, 1301 Fifth Avenue North, 35203 is the dealership address. As Mr. Brown mentioned, I'm the CEO of Hallmark. I was the CEO of Jim Burke before we sold it for 25 years. I think you have an Exhibit B and C. It's two different letters. One is a letter from Michael DePaul, which is the general manager of Hyundai, detailing what Hyundai requires us to do under an ownership change. And if you'll spare me for a minute, when a franchise sells from one owner to the other, they get the flexibility to dictate ramifications on matters such as this. This building only has a showroom. It does not have a service department related to it. Our service department is a block away. Hyundai, the manufacturer in Exhibit B and also Exhibit C, Exhibit C is the facility renovation that we had to sign upon buying the dealership from Mr. Burke. They are requiring us to add a service facility to a building, and it doesn't matter whether the building's here or somewhere else. We're going to have to do and meet their guidelines. They give us timeframes to do that, usually about 2 or 3 years. But that's the main reason why we're requesting the vacation in this situation.
Thank you. And, I did want to hear from, DOT, BDOT, because I know that there was they got a chance to go before, what committee was that again? Or
Subdivision Committee.
subdivision committee?
My name is Forrest Johnson. I serve as traffic systems engineer for the City of Birmingham's Department of Transportation. We are very glad that Hallmark is willing to invest a lot of money in the City of Birmingham. We are excited for this investment, and we are looking forward to being able to work with them on a way to develop this property in a way that fits with our long-term goals for the city. This right here is located a block from the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. It is located along Fifth Avenue North, which is the location of our Civil Rights Raise Grant Trail, where the City of Birmingham and the U.S. government have invested tens of millions of dollars, where we are developing a multi-use trail that will connect the Smithfield, Graymont, College Hills communities into the downtown Birmingham area. 4th Avenue North and 16th Street North are getting relatively similar treatments through various other grants and projects that we are working on. So, coupled with the continued interest in the Birmingham Civil Rights District, where there's a lot of history that's here. You know, this is a block from the 16th Street Baptist Church. It is along some of these important corridors that we're investing heavily in our transportation network. We do not expect this area to stay light industrial forever. With similar investments in other parts of town, we see a lot of development, and you know, Hallmark may be investing today, but 10 years down the road, they might be able to sell this property for triple or quadruple what they invested in it originally. We see that with the car dealerships on 20th Street across from the Rotary Trail, the former Ford dealership. Now they have sold for a lot of money. Thankfully, we do still have the alleys located on that one. But when this happens and development occurs without an alley, say multifamily with retail, residential, some restaurants, that pushes a lot of the back of house operations onto the street. So there's a lot of these developments like in 5 Point South and you know, one directly across the street from the former Ford dealership, the Station 121. These properties, their garbage dumpsters end up on the sidewalk. You know, they do build in stuff for them, but it doesn't always work out. And there's you take away the ability for utilities to be through the alley, the back of the house. You have to push the utilities to the street. So while this is a car dealership and it will, you know, it works for this use in the long-term future of the city, where we expect a lot of change in this area, we do not expect that the vacation of the alley will serve us well. We think it will be in the long term a net negative if we lose that right of way. Additionally, alleys, I know it was mentioned that it's vacated on both the eastern and western ends. Alleys are not meant for through traffic. That's not the point of an alley. It's for the back of house operations. So if this property was to redevelop, which this is what the reason that were platted originally was for future use. So it would allow those back of house uses to still remain back of house and not be pushed onto the sidewalk in the street front. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee members, I wanted to, you know, open up the floor for any of you to ask any questions that you may have. I do know that I had, you know, just two questions. I think it was made mention that, you know, currently this alleyway has both electrical power lines as well as, you know, some plumbing challenges as well, or not plumbing challenges, but sewer. And those two things could be rectified in the event that this was granted, to where that wasn't a problem any longer, correct?
That's correct. We would have to pay, as the owner, we would have to pay to move or to make provisions for that going forward. So we would have to move the power lines. We've talked to Power Company about how we would do that, and that would be a cost to us or in working with the Power Company. And the same thing with sewer. If you are to move that or to reorganize it, you would have to, that would be a cost borne by the property owner.
Okay.
And that would have to be done in conjunction with any construction project.
Got you.
And I would say also, it was mentioned by the city, and, you know, we've all seen a lot of development. The city's been fortunate to have a lot of good downtown development. And one thing that we all do know is that because I've represented a lot of developers, if I come in and if somebody was gonna develop this site and put multifamily on that site, you would say to the city would have ultimate authority to say, okay, Mr. Multifamily developer, in order for you to build your multifamily in this area, we're going to require you to have a place to put your dumpster or put your other services of that nature. You see it all the time in downtown operations. Some of the operations that are mentioned, I understand the situation because those are buildings that are in existence that are being converted. So my office over on Fifth Avenue looks out directly towards the McWane Center, and there's been some development in that area. But those are existing, multi-story buildings that are then just converted to apartments. What they're talking about here would be completely different. It would be a complete redo of that piece of property. So let's say tomorrow, somebody said, well, I'm gonna buy this property and convert it to multifamily. What you would have to do is tear down the existing buildings, and the city would have control over that because they have to approve the plans, and they would tell the developer where to put their dumpsters, where to put those other services. So it's not exactly like the situations that I think were mentioned by the city.
Got you. And then the only other thing that I wanted to make sure I was clear on is the reason that you're asking for this vacation is because you need to be able to connect your showroom to your service building as well, so that when people are coming in to get services, it's a one-stop shop, so to speak.
Yes, sir. As I mentioned earlier, the manufacturer, Hyundai, is going to require us to add a service facility and a service waiting area congruent with the existing dealership. If we don't do it on this piece of property, we're going to have to go find another piece of property to do it, or they're not going to grant us our franchise. It's contingent on us doing this for a period of time. Again, it's not tomorrow, but it will be over a period of time. If we don't do it, they're going to say you don't have a Hyundai franchise anymore to do it. And the gentleman brought up the Ford dealership. I've tried to buy that dealership, and the reason they moved to Homewood is because there was not enough room for them to do what they needed to do. So with the negotiations with Ford, that was part of the deal, is they had to expand, and they couldn't at that location.
Thank you. Councilor Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wondering, you said your name is, I know you're the COO, but.
Mark Livings?
Mark Livingston?
Yes, ma'am. Livings,
Livings.
no weight on the end
Okay.
of it.
How many franchises, did Hallmark buy all of the franchises from Burke?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's how many operating in downtown?
We have 8 total franchises.
8
Jim Burke
total?
had 9. The Genesis franchise was pulled by the manufacturer, so
The
we did
who?
not buy the Genesis.
I don't even know what that is.
So we had Nissan, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Subaru, and Hyundai.
Okay, and so you're operating in about how many blocks of our downtown? Because I know some is on the other side of 65. No?
We have property over there, what we call it a detail shop.
Okay.
But we have 4 total city blocks.
4 total city blocks.
The Nissan is 1 city block, Subaru and the service department, which we're talking about joining with this building, is another. The Dodge Chrysler Jeep is another one, and then this one.
How well, if you're able to get this vacation approved, how well situated do you think you are to continue to operate? Do you need to expand anymore, or are you doing okay with the footprint you have? Supporting the 8 franchises?
All the others were approved by the manufacturer, so we don't have to move. We don't have to do any other requirements, those other than this one.
Okay.
We have some restrictions with Subaru, but those are working itself out as we speak. This is the only one that required us to do additional. Could we use for more land? Anybody downtown probably could
Yeah.
use more land, but.
And the city has historically, bought land and helped you all get your footprint kind of squared off, because I had to do it, so.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that we did.
In fact, the existing Hyundai building was acquired from the city for $1 back in 2010 because
Oh, that was after me.
it moved from Inslee at the time, and the city sold us that piece of property for $1 to move the dealership there.
Yeah, so I know that, operating within the street grid is really difficult for car dealers, and that's why just don't see many in downtowns anymore. So I don't know how long you guys are gonna last, but while you're here, you do represent, a large source of sales tax revenue, and we're grateful that we've been able to retain, like just in Burke, 8 franchises in the city. So I want to thank you for that. I guess it looks like, what you're crossing, okay, you said you all explored other ways beyond vacating, because I do appreciate what they're saying, but I think, like Mr. Brown says, we could probably, either require dedication of right-of-way when we approve a future development plan, or, just, in approving the development plan, maybe work some of those things out. And that's so that's so too in the bush, kind of, when your present operation is constrained. Where could you all move that franchise? I know there's some distance requirements from other franchise owners. What would be your possible locations if you had to move the Hyundai franchise to meet these requirements?
To answer that, the rule of thumb in the state of Alabama is 10 miles from a nearest competitor. So in this situation, you have Sarah and Tameron. Tameron's in Hoover, Sarah's in Center Point. I couldn't go any closer to them. So that leaves Gardendale, which we've actually looked at, or anywhere really northeast. So that would be my choices if I don't do it in the city of downtown.
Gotcha. The only other thing I had, on that utility line, you're saying you would move it out of there. Would you?
Are we talking about this, we talking about Alabama Power or with the sewer
The
line?
Alabama Power,
Okay.
power line going down the alley. Is there a chance it could go underground somewhere, wherever it goes? Because I'm thinking, if it moves out to our trail, that's gonna be ugly. But if it's overhead, have you all thought of how you would relocate the utilities? What would the alignment be, and would it be overhead or underground? I guess that's my question.
We've contacted Alabama Power. All of the power on that entire block only feeds our business. So I think that is a very big possibility because it's only going to feed our buildings on that. Currently, there's already been power rerouted because of a charging station, eight-place charging station already on that piece of property. So we've already had to address this issue once, just moving a power pole and getting additional power to run those chargers. We've dealt with that, but I definitely think that's a possibility.
Okay. That's all I have.
Councilor Abbott.
Thank you. I see absolutely no reason not to do this. We have an existing business who's been a good corporate citizen, and we vacate alleys all the time. And we don't pay any attention to our future land use plans or future plans that we've got, because 2 weeks ago, we didn't follow our plan and we went off on a tangent and did as we pleased. Basing a decision today on what might happen someday if the sun, moon, and stars line up makes no sense to me. So to me, if you're willing to do something with the Alabama Power in conjunction with Alabama Power, I'm sure they'll tell you where they're going to put it. It seems to me that if this was ever redeveloped for residential, we would tell the developer, you've got to put an alley down the middle of your property in order for this development to work, and then they'd either do it or they wouldn't. So we have the power, and to hold up an existing business for some imaginary something that might happen in the future, or it might not. Makes no sense whatsoever. So the only problem that I see is, you know, if you build your building on top of the sewer, it will be hard to access it if it has a problem.
And the map that Mr. Brown put up earlier, there's part of that drawing that was done before we knew there was a sewer line down there, so that would be modified. We would probably build a building over the sewer line, but it would be an inexpensive that if anything ever happened, we could tear that down and rebuild it very inexpensively.
Well, it looks like what you're putting over the alleyway is not, I don't want to say it looks insignificant, but it certainly doesn't take up all the whole alley. It's not like you're building a, you know, a 27-story high-rise on top of it. And actually, I used to have a friend whose house was built on top of a sewer, and there was actually a sewer inlet in the basement so people could go down there and access the sewer if they really wanted to. So anything can be done to make things work out, and I just see that this is a minor bump in the road, and I don't know why we're trying to make it into a bump in the road when, you know, we've already vacated everything around it. So, excuse me, but that's not a very good reason to me. Just one person on a committee of 3. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You are absolutely welcome, Madam Abbott. No, so I've had an opportunity to actually go out to the site and to see the location in question. And I definitely believe that this would be a good use for what you're trying to do, especially since you've been there for quite some time now. It provides a lot of jobs to people in our city. And as has already been stated, brings in a lot of taxes to the city as well. And so definitely would not want to lose this to Gardendale. I mean, I ain't got nothing against Gardendale, but
They're
yeah.
lovely people.
Yeah, lovely people. But I definitely would want to be able to keep you all right here in the city of Birmingham. And I ain't gonna lie, them Santa Fe's ain't too bad to look at either. So, yeah. Is there a motion for this
Yes.
item?
I would like to make a motion that we approve this based on the COO's assertion and his attorney that they will deal with the power and the sewer as needed in the former alleyway that we're going to vacate.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? So this will be sent to the full council with a recommendation to approve this. And so look forward to working with you all again. All right. Thank you. Next item.
Once again, my name is Roger Glow, and I serve as subdivision planner for the city of Birmingham. And item 2, a request for favorable recommendation regarding the vacation of 114,074 square feet of right-of-way, and a request for approval of a final plat resurveying 17 lots and the vacated right-of-way into one lot to call the Legacy Prep Resurvey, which is subdivision case 2024, case number 88. And we do have representatives for Legacy Prep.
All right, come on up and state your name and address and tell us what we're doing here.
My name is Roland Jackins. I'm a surveyor with Dynamic Civil Solutions, 2210 2nd Avenue North. The request here today is to vacate this right-of-way for the purpose of a resurvey and combine it with property for the construction of a new school. Currently, the right-of-way is unopened. It's not a thoroughfare. It's grown over. Part of it's a ball field. So there's no one being stranded. And like I say, it's for the purpose of a school. And Dr. Johnson can speak to that.
Good afternoon. I'm Renetta Johnson. I'm the head of schools for Legacy Schools. My address is, you want my home address or school? The business is 1500 Daniel Payne Drive. Just coming before you today that we have purchased the property, which is the former Boys and Girls Club, and we are in the process of getting ready to start renovations to make that our middle school. And so during that process, we did discover that we needed additional space so that we would have a space for our fire trucks and our parents to come in and drop off in a safe area. And so that's why we're coming before you with this request.
Thank you, thank you. Are there any committee members that would like to speak to this item? Councilor Clark?
I know we already approved the fee waivers, subject to, I guess, you getting the vacation. But the Valley Creek Trail extension is going to be on the other side of the creek, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought, because I'm sure they would have already tried to get this right away. Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Councilor Abbott?
Yes, I don't really have any questions. I remember that we've seen this before. And an unopened alley is usually not very controversial, except that it's unopened and sometimes people wish it was open. So I think this is kind of a fairly simple situation.
Yeah, same. I'm just actually, glad to know that you all are moving into the space. I had a very intimate connection with this space. I actually had an opportunity to work for the Boys and Girls Club during the time that they were in this building. And so even looking at the football field and the tennis court behind it, bringing back some memories of all the different activities that we used to have an opportunity to expose the kids to. And so I'm glad, again, that you all are moving into that location. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Yeah. Well, no, just glad that you all are doing something with the space, and I know that it's gonna be beautiful. Councilor Clark.
This one's for Mr. Roderick Lowe. Is the right-of-way improved? It looks like some of it's paved, of course, but down toward the end away from the building, it looks like there's some kind of structures out there.
No. Basically, that's the old football field. Most of this, what we are attempting to vacate, is just grass
Okay.
right now.
So it might be bleachers and a concession
And
stand that you might be
There's
seeing
bleachers on that side.
Okay, okay.
that can be moved.
They can be removed.
Thank you.
Is there a motion on this item?
Yeah, yes, I'd like to move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. All right, next item.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Glover. I serve as Chief Condemnation Demolition Coordinator. Item number 3, review of property that was condemned by City Council on November 21st, 2023, and has no repair permit, 847 Hillcrest Road. Application for special repair permit was submitted by Carissa Neal at 210 Davidson Circle, Rimlap, Alabama 35133.
All right, applicants, please state your name, the address, and then tell us what we're looking at.
I'm Carissa Neal. I just bought the property.
We need for you to speak into the microphone so we can hear you.
I'm Carissa Neal. I just bought the property.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get a permit so we can clean it up and then repair it for my mother.
Got you. And Mr. Glover, according to you, there are no voided permits for this applicant? Okay.
It's been tied up because of a deed. We've been waiting on a deed.
We're trying to get a permit earlier. I lived there on a land contract for.
Can you
since
identify yourself?
2009. I'm sorry. I lived there since 2009 on a land contract, and it was through a company in New York and Wyoming. And then when the house burned, my husband passed away and I had some health issues. And it took a while to get the deed transferred. And then because of my age, I went ahead and gave it to my daughter. So because she could carry through on everything, I'm getting it done better than I can. And we want to do a lot of the repairs and stuff ourselves. My son-in-law does construction. I have a grandson that works for Dunn Building, and I have another son-in-law that works for Clayton Homes and does homes. So I think we're qualified as far as doing it.
Okay. Yeah, looking at this property, it definitely has significant damage, but it's not like we haven't seen properties that were worse off. And so to know that, you know, somebody has some construction experience and knows what they're doing is reassuring. Committee members, anybody have any questions?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So when's the last time someone occupied the house?
When did it burn?
Approximately, roughly,
It's been about 2 years ago.
about 2 years since someone's been in it. So folks have vandals have come in and trashed it, or is this just the result of the fire?
We had boarded the front and everything up. The windows and doors were both.
Okay, so this is just the burned, stuff. Okay. All right, because I was gonna ask how much she paid for it, but you conveyed it to her, and that's probably none of my business. It's public record, but the land contract, is that a form of ownership?
Yes, apparently it is in a lot of places, and they expected me to transfer the deed, everything in my name at the time, but Alabama didn't recognize it or something when I went to the tax office back then. So it just stayed as a land contract, so.
So I know in our condemnation process, we do some title work. We haven't gotten that far in the interested party. So do they have title to the property or an interest in the property? Or does it?
No, well, the deed was transferred to my daughter October 31st of this year.
Okay, I was just curious, because I don't, how the ownership, I've never heard of a land contract before, so I was just curious about how it establishes ownership. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave it alone. Pardon me? Okay. But our process in permitting, how much, okay, if I want to get a permit to alter a property, what do I have to prove to you in terms of ownership before you give me a permit? A recorded deed that has my name on it?
Speaking to the mic, Mr. Glover. So
Okay.
Recorded deed.
A recorded deed with my name on it? So do they have a recorded deed with their name on it?
No,
Oh. So would they be eligible for a permit?
once they go through the probate court and the probate issues that, then yes.
Okay, so you were just trying to stop the wrecking ball while they go through that process. So if we approve their condemnation repair permit, you won't proceed to demolish it, but they would still have time to do the probate stuff and come back to get the permit?
Yes, ma'am, we won't proceed.
How much time would they have?
We normally allow 30 days.
30
Normally,
days?
But we won't proceed with the demo process, and we also won't proceed with issuing the permit. They would have to present that in order for us to issue the permit.
Okay, so long as they have made some progress with every 30 days toward getting the title stuff straight and all that,
We
okay.
work with them because sometimes it's a lengthy process with, by being no will or this ownership is what she's presented to us. We have no record of it. So we just try to work with them. Anyone that's trying to save their property, we
Yeah,
just try to give them the opportunity.
I think every house deserves a chance to be saved.
Absolutely.
That's what I believe. Okay.
Councilor Abbott?
Okay, so my concern is the condition of the property and how much work it's gonna take you to make this house remain standing, because it looks rough.
It does.
So do you have a cost estimate that you've pulled together about how you're going to manage to
Probably about 40, it's probably about, it'll be about $40,000
40,000?
to repair it.
Everything,
That's materials with us doing labor.
yeah.
Oh, okay, well, that, yeah.
That's not,
Yeah, and we do have a deed. They have it at the permit.
it was recorded and, but I haven't got the official one in the mail. She sent me, the mortgage company sent me a notice that they were mailing it sometime this week.
So we do have a deed.
But it is recorded at the,
Jefferson County Courthouse across the street. So the
it's
probate
recorded. I
office will,
presented that to the permit office.
She just didn't bring it today, but we do have.
well, they maintain all the property records. We just visit them sometimes. Okay, so $40,000 with y'all doing all the labor to bring this house back to life. Makes me tired looking at it, but if you want to do it, I'm agreeable. As soon as all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed. Permit and the ownership and the deed and good to go. We've seen worse.
We definitely have. And, you know, Mr. Glover, I always ask this just because I like to be clear. The applicant will have 30 days to come back before you and say, hey, this is the progress that I've made, whether that's, you know, getting the title of the deed or making any type of repairs. They'll have to always just make sure that they check back in with you every 30 days on the progress of this property, correct?
Absolutely.
And in the event they either do not check in those 30 days or they do not make the repairs that are needed, I guess what happens at that point?
If they have a permit, that permit is voided, and we pick up where we left off with our demolition process.
Got you. And so really, you know, this is supposed to be a win-win situation for the city, in that if you all can repair the property, it makes the property look good, it brings it back to life, and the home is saved. However, if that does not happen, then the city comes out and, you know, demolishes it, and it still, you know, is a cleared space, no longer a public nuisance, no longer an eyesore, but, you know, it's something that, you know, the city doesn't necessarily have to worry about anymore. And so we would much rather you all hold up your end of the bargain in terms of repairing it, bringing it back to life, and making it look nice. And so we wish you guys speed on that. Is there a motion to approve? Or a motion, I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the condemnation repair permit.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. You all have it.
Good
All
luck.
right, thank you. For old business, we have item 44. Okay, I'm seeing double. I need to eat again. We have item 4, KBB bylaws and appointments. Let's see, we have Mr. Brennan coming up.
Wait, that's item 5. It's item 5, but it's item 4.
It's under old business. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's item number 4.
It's section number
5. Yeah.
Okay. I'm good.
How you doing, sir?
Good afternoon, doing well, sir. My name is Brendan Rutledge. I serve as Assistant City Attorney in the Office of the City Attorney.
Okay.
And I drafted this proposed amended ordinance.
So there was a draft made to amend the ordinance for the Keeping Birmingham Beautiful bylaws. and the appointments. I didn't know if there was anybody that could speak to, some of the changes that were made, to the ordinance.
I think we approved it. This is when they narrowed the board down from like 27 people down to a reasonable number. I forget what. And changed the number, yeah, so that they could function.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this? What's before us today?
And so,
So why are we here?
This was supposed to have been co-presented by OCA and by oversight, was not present at the first committee meeting where it was presented.
got it. So OCA is in agreement with the changes that were made because OCA made the changes, correct?
Yes, sir. That's
And
correct.
so you came here today just so that, there could be a unified front between the two, departments, and for us to be able to approve this again and move it to the full council so that, we can get approval on the full ordinance change. Okay, Counselor Clark has one question. Prepare yourself.
Is Auntie Litter coming back?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
He's not from around here.
I think that would,
You didn't
That
grow up in
would probably-
Birmingham, so you don't know Auntie Litter.
No, ma'am.
Oh, man.
I think that probably would be a question for Director Thompson.
Good afternoon, Katrina Thomas, our Service Director, Department of Planning, Engineering, and Permits, and Sade couldn't be with us today. She's at home with a sick baby, but Sade has mentioned bringing Auntie Litter back. So we'll make sure that that's incorporated into the public education pieces. It may not be that exact campaign, but something to just get everyone back motivated and encouraged to do what's right by the environment.
Well, I can't remember her real name, but she was certainly filled with enthusiasm.
She really was.
And her outfit was undeniable.
But what I really want to say is I think we've lost our edge when it comes to public awareness campaigns, because when you think about the campaigns of our childhood versus the campaigns now, no wonder people don't know how to act, because we're not constantly telling them. We were, and litter is such a bad problem now, and it affects the waterways, and I don't think people really know. They just think it's ugly.
Yeah, we do a lot of the public education at the school age because that we have found that can sometimes be the most effective way to get the message out. So we're present at schools presenting that message to school age children. But that campaign will continue, and we'll continue to create ways to strengthen that message.
And we do have the media buys. I know the council and the mayor's office, so we need to, I don't know if they do PSAs like they used to, but we kind of need to flood the airwaves too, or social media, wherever people are,
Listening.
engaging, because.
Well, and particularly when we see that from the top, we're probably not going to get a lot of environmental support. And so we're gonna have to educate people and get them enthusiastic, because if the President of the United States doesn't give a hoot about the environment, we've got to pick up the slack. Because we have Village Creek, we have Valley Creek, we have all these creeks full of trash, and, we're just gonna have to pick it up.
Yeah, and getting the board back established is one of the major first steps to that education piece as well.
Let me ask this, Mr. Brennan, will you all be submitting, this item, so that it can be put on the full council for January the 7th?
For next week's council meeting.
Monday's council meeting?
Monday's council meeting? So the 23rd?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, is there a motion for approval of,
Well,
I
What are we
guess we already
approving?
approved it.
I guess we could tell Mr. Rutledge that we're happy to meet you from OCA, and we're glad you're here to tell us that y'all have approved of this and that you're putting it on our agenda, but I don't think there's an item for us to pass or to move. I guess we can move that we agree for it to go on the council agenda.
Okay, yeah.
How
As
about
long
that?
as long as
Okay.
you're willing to, submit it so that it could be moved to the council agenda, then we'll.
Yeah, so I move that this committee endorse putting this on the council agenda for this coming Monday.
I second that. There we go. So yeah, as long as it's ready for the next, council agenda, then we'll send it with a recommendation from the Community Development Committee. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Without further ado. Move for
Second.
adjourn. Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.